Good day. Thanks for joining us. We're going to talk a little bit about creating an intelligence network for your school. If you'll notice the slide on the screen, there are a lot of threats and issues behind our students, and we're trying to constantly be aware to create a safe environment. We all have responsibilities for care, custody, control, but regularly we find ourselves surprised by the threats that are around us. Would we want to know what's going to happen tomorrow, today? And I think the overwhelming answer is yes. And a lot of these things can be natural disasters and events, but a lot of them can relate to behaviors of concern. And we really are in a different world today that we have the ability to predict what our organization's next crisis would be. And the way we're able to do that is identifying what the warning signs are. And with every one of those warning signs, we see indicators. Now, all of us as educators have had an environment where we've seen things happen in our gut, or our instinct tells us that this is a particular problem or a concern. And that's kind of a soft data area. Hard data is where there's physical evidence associated with that. And that might be a posting on a Facebook page or messages that could be out on the internet as we share in those areas. And so that becomes an extremely important aspect, and there's statistics around all of those areas that reinforce that we're able to see what these indicators are as we can create our own intelligence network. In order to have an intelligence network, you have to listen to what's going on. Just like the teacher in the classroom is listening, we listen to what's being said on the internet, then we look at a particular person or an event to determine that. While nobody can guarantee specific results, wouldn't you really want to know if you could? And as you do that, we want to know what's going on. Social media today is targeted. It's not random. People that are there are talking about other people. They're talking about other students. They're talking about events that are going on within your school or specifically around your school. You see the quote that's up here that was listing here about a child who was contemplating suicide. And we see messages about cutting, and we see messages about bullying. That information is out there. There's an expectation by your parents that they want you to know what's going on at your school. And so it comes back here that words and intent really matter. When people know, they talk. The statistics are that if someone has ill intent toward themselves or others, 80% of the time someone else knows. 2/3 of the time, two or more people know, and when they know, they talk, and they talk on social media. And so as you see these comments coming up, that information is out there. It would be available to you and your school in order to better understand what's emerging and coming together. It is complex. We have to look at semantics of speech and idioms and context to really determine what those words are. Think about the number of different words that actually relate to the word gun or relate to specifically to drugs. But it's the pattern of this over time, this complex pattern, that allows us to start to interpret it and identify those individuals that are at risk. That's why it's cumulative in thinking through the process. There are dashboards that are tools that are available, and you see one here, and it really lets you see about sentiment and who's saying what, and then the specific quotes that are out there. But that information is available to you. And they're used to really establish a baseline so that when you see an uptick in activity, you can make those decisions about what's important. The tools also have menus that become easy to let you design the phrases and search terms that you're looking for, or the other elements that are associated. Firestorm will make available to your school a 90-day pilot trial. It's a way that you can relate back to the parents that we're doing everything we can to keep our children safe. And remember, what appears on social media today occurs tomorrow at your school. All of those types of threats, whether bullying or cutting or violence-oriented, those are real-world actions that are out there, and they convert from the knowledge that's shared here first on social media. We would encourage you to have an intelligence network. While we can't guarantee specific results, wouldn't you really want to know if you could? I've asked some Firestorm principals to reach out to our schools to